Hello, and welcome to another edition of Ask the Professor, where we respond to viewers' questions about political philosophy, about political culture, about culture more generally, history, economics, all those things that matter to us in our life together as citizens.
All right, here's Andre, and he wants to know, as much as we talk about democracy, the rule of law, small government, and other nice things, we are still obsessed as a society with the country's leaders. Why do we pay so much attention to the presidential elections in the United States and not, say, to Congress? Why do we care so much about Justin Trudeau while we have an entire parliament filled with members and senators? What is this, celebrity culture? What is this? That's him theorizing, the remnants of a tribal societal structure? Why does it matter?
Yes, I was sort of reminded of this George Booth cartoon of this tribe bickering and then this one huge guy looming and everybody agreeing with him. And let me just extend my wrist for the handcuffs, because I am busted here, and I'm busted in this very particular way. I have taught American history on and off at universities since I finished graduate school, and in fact before I finished it. And when I do my American survey, it's divided up into presidencies. And I've lately found myself wondering, why on earth did I do that? How did I succumb to this notion that politics is the most important thing? And the short answer, but not the creditable answer, is it's much easier conceptually that way. I mean, even if you're just dealing with politics, so there's one president. It's easy enough to say this was the president, he did this, he did that. You know, not that there aren't 50 million books on Abraham Lincoln alone. But Congress has 535 members. Our parliament, how are you going to take account of 308 members of parliament, or now 338, many of whom, it was Stephen Harper who actually said this to me many years ago, that when you're elected to parliament, you spend the first 2 weeks wondering how you got there, and the rest of your time wondering how these other people did. And certainly as prime minister, I think he wondered that a lot. But it's not enough to say, yeah, it's easy to do it that way. Or, how do you talk about culture when it's so diverse and 35 million people have cultural habits and attributes? There's just one prime minister, it makes things easy. But I think there's more to it than that. I think it is partly a celebrity culture, and I think it is partly tribal. The idea that it really matters who is the chief.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
is he our guy or the other guy?
Yeah, and of course, if the chief is slain in battle, your tribe could be in trouble, but I don't think anybody's going to slay the chief in battle. The last English king to die in battle was Richard III. The last English king to lead troops in battle was George II, so we're probably beyond that at this point. Not that, Prince William wouldn't make a pretty formidable leader on the battlefield, I think. But we are still obsessed with the idea that one man can do so much for us. Samuel Johnson says, how little of all that human hearts endure, that part which kings or parliaments can cause or cure, as kings or in laws. And yet we still do think it's going to matter enormously. And I find this with people who are telling me that if Hillary Clinton is elected, it'll be the end of the world. And you know what? If Hillary Clinton is elected, the United States will have a very bad president. If Donald Trump is elected, they'll have a maniac for president. I wouldn't vote for either of them. But neither of them can destroy the United States single-handedly, because you do have Congress. If Hillary Clinton is elected, but the Republicans capture both houses of Congress, which is by no means impossible, I think it's the second most likely outcome at this point, to Republican House, Democratic Senate, but it's still way up there, then Congress can frustrate her. The American system is set up that way. Our MPs could frustrate Justin Trudeau if they could find their backbones. Unfortunately, they don't even seem to be looking for them.
Same with senators. They could do it. And we can do something too.
I knew we were going to get to us eventually. Us, we the people. We have more power for good or evil by a long shot than politicians. You know what Ralph Klein used to say? Show me a big enough parade and I'll get in front of it. It's not because of politicians that the laws are changed. It's because of public opinion that the politicians are changed and then the laws are changed. And you take things like the breakdown of the family. That didn't happen because politicians or judges in this country and in the United States legalized abortion. It happened because the public wanted, and again, it's not everybody, but a very large proportion of the public wanted free love, and they got it. They be careful what you ask for. In the United States now, the illegitimacy rate, and I'm not even allowed to call it that anymore, is over 40%.
Yeah, you're giving away your age there.
Yeah, actually, I worked for the Reform Party. I wanted to talk about this, and they actually told me, no, we will not say broken home. We will not say illegitimacy. It's judgmental. And they weren't saying this because they believed it. Yeah. They were saying it because they thought the public believed it, and possibly they did. But as Joseph de Maistre said in the end, everybody gets the government they deserve. And so we need to look into our own hearts. Politics is downstream of culture. All of which is to say it's wrong to focus on the big man with the big mustache and the big house. Hillary Clinton, they will call her the most powerful person on earth. It used to be the most powerful man on earth. But in a very important way, she's not. The U.S. president has less power in their system than the Canadian prime minister has in our system. And Hillary Clinton isn't going to start a nuclear war. It's true that someone like Barack Obama, with his fecklessness in foreign policy, can make the world a more dangerous place. But Barack Obama is president because Americans wanted a president like Barack Obama. They may have elected him once by mistake. They elected him the second time on purpose. And so, it's us. And we need to stop thinking that politicians can make our lives better. I recently discovered, I must confess I'd completely forgotten about this, a piece I'd written for the Literary Review of Canada back when Barack Obama was just on the verge of being elected, and Canadians had such high hopes. And I said, what does anybody really think? Even if Barack Obama is as wonderful as his supporters think he is, what do they really think he can do for Canada? How will he transform the lives of Canadians? This is childish, people. We need to transform our own lives if they really need transforming. And of course, nobody listened, and Liberal MPs were still cheering wildly as Barack Obama told them to stop being such skinflints on the media, on defense, which is kind of odd in itself. But they feel special because Barack Obama is looking at them and smiling at them. This is preposterous. I don't even feel special if Justin Trudeau was smiling at me. I don't know if I'd have felt special if Stephen Harper smiled at me. He wasn't given to that kind of thing.
Very much, yeah.
But it's not them, it's us. So yeah, we need to get away from the celebrity tribalism and stop believing that the president can improve your life.
Right.
And start thinking you can improve the presidency or the prime ministership, because that's the direction in which it flows.
So are you going to change the way you teach your courses in American history?
Yeah, if I get another go at it. The U of O has somewhat changed its rules, and I haven't had a course in a while. I'd love to do another one. But yes, I will have to revamp them. I don't mind the hard work. I will divide it into cultural periods and economic periods and tack on the politics.
And then explains the presidents by the culture, right? Saying that's why John F. Kennedy got elected, because at that point the American people were going in this direction instead of the other way around.
They were living the madman dream. People think sex was invented in 1963. I assure you it wasn't. John Kennedy knew all about sex, and people picked up that vibe from him. And one more thing, I just have to say, when I started teaching American history, of course, the first thing I did is took all my notes from graduate school. I had good professors, and there was the skeleton, and then I started adding my own thoughts and themes and so on. But when I came to look back at it, I realized that I had taken American history as an undergrad. I did 5 years of graduate school at the University of Texas and 1 year at the University of Toronto. And as far as I could tell, there were about 3 mentions of religion in the whole of my notes. They had to talk about the Great Awakening, and they had to sneer at the Scopes monkey trial. And that was it. Even my more conservative professors, it was as though nobody in America ever went to church. And yet even now, in this age of dissolute morals and family collapse, more people go to church than go to the Super Bowl or watch it on TV, apparently.
What's the percentage of Americans that believe in God?
Oh,
all denominations.
Yeah, I mean, if you put everybody in Americans, it's still, I think, over 90%. Now, I think it's about 60% actually attend some form of worship, which again is an outlier in the Western world, and it's probably falling. And for the first time ever in American history, there is a partisan divide. Christians who attend church are more likely to be Republican than Democrat. That never used to be true. And I'm sure the Democrats, once they get over the shock, will say, oh, great, we don't want those. Remember Barack Obama's line about people who are bitter and cling to guns and God? And this, of course, is the assessment of why people vote for Donald Trump. They vote for Donald Trump because they're so fed up with the elites that they've lost their minds. And they have lost their minds. But they're not a bunch of xenophobic, foam-at-the-mouth know-nothings, and it is wrong to say so.
Plus,
but I digress.
There's a bunch of other people that have guns and God and who vote Democrat.
Yeah.
I think. Don't we call them the Southern Democrats and the Blue Dog Democrats?
Unfortunately, fewer and fewer of them now belong to the Democratic Party. I think that's bad for everybody. But the point is, even if Donald Trump is elected president, it will reflect real problems in America more than it will cause them. And the same is true of Hillary Clinton. The fact that this is the choice is not a cause of America's problems. It is a consequence of America's problems. And like the Great Awakening itself, it must be a current of redemption that runs through the populace that will change the politics, not the other way around.
All right. And how we change that? I guess we'll keep that for another Ask the Professor, because this has gone long enough.
Exactly. I don't have a 10-second answer except, know thyself, heal thyself. But there's more to it than that.
All right. Thanks for that, folks. If you want to ask your question of the professor, the URL on your screen will take you to a page where everything is explained. Thanks, and see you next time.